When I was 16, my father died in a car accident. Before he passed away, he left everything he owned to me. It was a fortune I never asked for. I would have traded every cent just to have my father back. A year later, my mother remarried a man named Matt. He had a son named James who was a year older than me. At first, everything was fine. Matt had a job, my mother stayed home, and we lived like a normal family. Then Matt lost his job. Money became tight, and my mother became the only person supporting the household. That's when everything changed. One day, Matt found paperwork showing that my father had left a large inheritance to me. The moment he learned about the money, his attitude changed. He started making comments about how unfair it was that James had nothing while I had enough money to buy several houses. Eventually, he stopped hinting and demanded that I share my inheritance with James. I refused. That money came from my father and represented everything he had worked for. Matt was furious. The arguments became constant. Then one night, while my mother was working late, he threw me out of the house. I was 16 with nowhere to go. I spent the night outside feeling angry, scared, and humiliated. That's when I decided I wanted revenge. For days I stayed away. My mother covered the city with missing person posters. Everyone was looking for me, but I wasn't ready to come home. Instead, I came up with a horrible plan. Late one night, I stole Matt's car and drove into the woods. I staged a fake crime scene using pieces of wood and some of my own blood. Then I returned everything before anyone noticed. A month later, I came home looking exhausted, dirty, and injured. My mother immediately took me to the police. That's when I told them that Matt had kidnapped me and abandoned me in the woods. The police believed me. The evidence I had planted seemed to support my story. Matt was arrested. My mother divorced him. James moved away. Just like that, my revenge was complete. Or so I thought. Years passed. I went to university, studied law, graduated with top marks, and eventually became a lawyer. For years I convinced myself that Matt deserved what happened. Then, at 26, I received my first major case. I opened the file and froze. The client was Matt. The man I had sent to prison. The man whose life I had destroyed. For the first time in 10 years, I was forced to face the truth. Matt had been cruel. What he did to me was wrong. But what I did to him was worse. I had lied. I had manipulated evidence. I had taken away years of a man's life. Sitting alone in my office, I realized something. Revenge feels satisfying when you're angry. But once the anger is gone, all that's left are the consequences. No matter how successful I became, I would always have to live with one fact. The biggest mistake of my life wasn't being thrown out of that house. It was becoming the very thing I hated. And that's a guilt I may never escape.